describes just a small part of what you do. I mean, it's very important, but it's like, it gives us a little glimpse into your inspiration, where your inspiration comes from, and your thought processes with the Post-it note, which is really great. I mean, how often do we get to go into an artist's mind?
My background is fashion, and I really enjoy drawing clothes.
There's so much richness in your characters because of that background, like all of the amazing armor and the layers of clothing. And I really love studying them for that reason, just because it's like, oh my gosh, now look at that. You know, it's something that I'm not accustomed to seeing, and the figures are just, they're lavish. So that brings another element into play with your characters.
When you're doing webcomics, you really have to love what you're doing, and it's just kind of a mix of everything you love, and throwing it in there, it keeps you going.
Well, your research is fascinating. I mean, it's all over the place. From astronauts to sea creatures, and you know that. I mean, it just seems so entertaining.
This is some concept work for the characters beforehand. And what I did was I looked up real life things like what do astronauts wear, and I looked up like ancient diving suits and dirt bike armor and all kinds of things, and what other people were doing for sci-fi. I looked at Star Wars, Farscape, Star Trek, Stargate, Mass Effect, and I just kind of drew a bunch of things. I picked up the elements I liked most and came up with the final projects. Of course, once I started drawing them, this one in particular, everything changed.
A lot of your characters in your other pieces are very active, or they're resting in nature, but this body of work is way different.
I started on these after the pandemic kind of began, like lockdown first happened, and I was often very stressed, so I had found out that it was easiest for me to just draw something and not question why I was drawing it, even if I was drawing the same thing over and over again. Then I started looking into underwater fashion photography, and it was so beautiful, and all this floating fabric. And what had happened is I bought a pose reference pack from a Dorka stock, and there are 3 of these packs, and they're all like underwater. So I would kind of flip through them until I saw a pose that grabbed my eye, and then I would just draw it.
They are so soothing, you know, and I find that in talking to a lot of artists, their artwork changed with the pandemic. You know, that everything shifted. They used different colors, or they did something totally different, and it's a record of the time, really.
Yeah.
You know, and they are, you know, they were soothing to you as you were making them. They're soothing to other people too.
I think what happened is because I said, you know, I was drawing stuff without judging it, like you already drew floating people, already don't draw it. What happened is I think I became more sincere.
Right.
Like I was really drawing self-indulgent stuff and not really concerned whether or not I had already drawn and just drawing for the love of drawing. I really love drawing in the process of it. When I was studying at Kotila University, like in one of my first years, I created this little clay owl. And Denise, the dean, flipped it over while she was examining it and saw that I had carved feet on the bottom, and she kind of laughed and said, I believe the viewer should be rewarded. If you're spending time with a piece, that the viewer should be rewarded. And that always stuck with me. I had, of course, given it feet because I felt bad that it didn't have feet. So I wasn't really thinking about that, but that switched how I was thinking about that kind of thing. So the more you look, I do hope that you find something new to look at.
It's so sweet.
Yeah.
A lot of them are just so sweet. You know, I hope you don't mind me saying that.
No, that's fine. Most of my stuff is, I do consider them what is called sweet romance.
Yeah.
And over the course of the pandemic, I didn't really draw a whole lot of couples. They're all isolated on their own wall, like the floating wall over there.
That's another important point, because we were isolated,
Yeah.
you know, and so, yeah, there's nothing around your figures. They're just
Right.
suspended, and like we were all suspended, we still are.
Yeah.
We're just waiting.
That's not
you know?
something I considered until recently that,
It's-
they're all alone.
Right, they're okay.
Calming. Yeah, they're okay.
And we're okay.
Right. That would be a